Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee on the Dip. Cheers to everybody. Uh, my name's Brandon Patterson and I am a new podcaster. I am starting this adventure because I believe there cannot be enough voices in the world trying to bring people together through education and good information. So I'm hoping the people that gravitate to this podcast and what I'm saying, uh, that we all find a way to reach out to one another and to start rebuilding community in this country that used to be one of the best countries in the world for having strong families and strong communities and having people that really work together. It's not a myth. I'm old enough to remember it. I'm old enough to remember people dropping in at your house unannounced. Today, that's a social faux pas. I think that that's a perfect example of the types of things that we need to change. So, that all being said, let's get right into this morning's dip into some free speech issues. One of my personal favorites, because as a faculty member at multiple different universities, I always got in trouble for my free speech. One of the reasons that I'm no longer faculty needs to be addressed and has to do with this fella, Peter Flaherty, who was speaking at the Berkshire-Hathaway meeting. And I'm just going to read what he said, and then I'm going to tell you what happened. So, in his speech, he said, "I'm Peter Flaherty, chairman of the National Legal and Policy Center. If we had an independent chair, the company would be less identified with Mr. Buffett's political activities. He's donated tens of billions to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. As Bill Gates explained when the couple was still together, although the foundation bears our names, basically half of our resources have come from Warren Buffett. If woke culture is a disease, then philanthropy is the virus. The Gates Foundation bankrolls the teaching of critical race theory around the country, including that math is inherently racist. The Gates Foundation offers a gender identity toolbox which asserts that gender is the result of socially and culturally constructed ideas. This is a lie. Gender is not a cultural construct. It is a genetic and biological fact." At this point, he was interrupted. "You are not going to censor what I say, ma'am. I'm very sorry, and I appeal to the chair that I be allowed to continue." Buffett tells him he can continue. He continues, "Of course, we know how much Bill Gates cares about children. He met and traveled with Jeffrey Epstein many times after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes. The Gates Foundation had a huge influence over the COVID response fiasco. Bill Gates defended China's COVID policies and still discounts the possibility that the virus originated from a lab, even though U.S. intelligence agencies disagree. The Gates Foundation may be the largest single donor to the dark money machine known as Arabella Associates." At this point, Buffett interrupts him. It funds causes like defunding the police that are making America's cities unlivable. Money goes to groups," and then his mic was cut. Okay, so there is a lot to unpack there. What happened to him is he was arrested by the security, which were off-duty policemen. He was handcuffed, taken down to the station, and charged with criminal trespassing. Okay, this is insane. He was an invited speaker. He is a shareholder. Therefore, he has every right to be there. I don't even know where to begin. If we are going to start arresting people that are invited speakers because they exercise their free speech, this country is not long to exist. These are the types of things that we as a people need to start taking notice of. Not Kim Kardashian's ass. Not all of the bullshit that is put out in the propaganda mainstream media system that we live in, which is everything he was talking about. All of this woke agenda. Okay, now, I, as a faculty member at Penn State and UC Davis School of Medicine, saw that the woke agenda started a long time ago, a lot longer than anybody thinks. By, I can't remember if it was 2011 or 2012, but right in that time frame, UC Davis had already instituted an app for students that if they felt microaggressed or if they weren't given trigger warnings for disruptive material, all they had to do is hit a button on their phone and you, the faculty member, were in the dean's office. Now, this is 2012. So we're a whole decade past that. And now you're seeing it in every aspect of society. Now, as a gay man, I am certainly not this crazy right-winger. I'm certainly for people's rights, but I'm for everybody's rights. Everybody. Everybody should have the same rights. And what's happening is groups that just bitch really loud and get a lot of money behind them can silence free speech. This is what we are seeing. This woke agenda is nothing more than trying to silence free speech. And now we're having stockholders at stock meetings being arrested for not towing the corporate media line, this woke agenda line. And it's time for us as a people to start drawing our own lines in the sand and say, no, we are going to say whatever the fuck we want. And words are not violence. Okay? As a scientist, you have to debate all the time. And sometimes it gets pretty brutal. But guess what? That's just part of it. Okay? You have to be able to debate points to move forward. This is why everything is getting destroyed. Because you can't have debate. You can't have dissent. The only way that things improve is through dissent. Through a few of these things that he brought up and discuss them in a rational and nuanced way and see if there's really any reason this guy should have been arrested. So, what's the first thing that he's talking about? First thing he's talking about is that Warren Buffett is actually the money behind the Gates Foundation. Well, that's true. So nothing to discuss there. If woke culture is the disease, then philanthropy is the virus. The Gates Foundation bankrolls the teaching of critical race theory, including that math is inherently racist. Okay. Math is not inherently racist. Math is a language no different than any other language. It's just a language that can be used to describe things in a very, very precise way. What is racist is the way they actually teach math now. I have seen a number of these new quote unquote math teaching methods, and for somebody that can read Einstein's equations and understand all of the aspects contained therein, when I can't understand how to do a simple fraction problem based on the way they're teaching it, there's a problem. There's a real problem in the way that math is being taught, because it's not being taught anymore. It's actually, they're teaching an algorithm on how to do math. They are not teaching math. So it shouldn't be a surprise that so many of our young people don't want to get into math, don't want to get into things that require a large background in math, because other than the ones that are just naturally gifted, you've made it that the barrier to entry is so high that becoming good at math is more than the average person is probably willing to put up with. So certainly there's nothing there that deserves to be arrested. Now, critical race theory, I don't know enough about it, because the little bit I have read about it is ridiculous. But and have knowing people from all cultural backgrounds, from international to within our own country, most people that are of a non-white race that I interact with also think this is all nonsense. Like, if you keep bringing up race, you're gonna keep, all you're doing is pointing out that people are different colors. Like the old phrases of, I don't see color, I see people. Well, that's what it should be. That's what it should be. You see people, okay? There are people of any color, can be any which way. So it's all irrelevant to keep bringing it up. No, there should not be hate crimes. No, people should not be discriminated against because of the color of their skin. This is ludicrous. But at the same time, you shouldn't be benefiting just from the color of your skin either. We can look at our own government right this minute and see how that doesn't work at all. Okay, we have crazy people stealing women's clothes out of airports. We have people being appointed to positions that require real skills, mostly, if not entirely, based on the color of their skin. And that's not okay either. Okay, my personal belief is in meritocracy. Like, if you work your ass off and you do amazing work, you should benefit from that. No different than this crazy credit score thing that's going on now that Biden proposed, that, oh, well, people with better credit are going to pay points so that people with lesser credit can benefit. This is nonsense. Okay, you're talking to somebody who came from nothing. Okay, started trapping when I was 8 years old and selling fur so that I had a few nickels to buy something with when I was a young child. I came from a pretty poor background, welfare, all this kind of shit. And no, you work hard, you be a good person, you can at least get yourself to a place where you can enjoy your life. Now, are you going to be a millionaire? Who knows? Me personally, money doesn't hold a lot of weight over me. Money is just a tool to be able to exist in society. I don't think people should even be allowed to own 1,000-foot yachts. I don't think that if you're going to bitch about climate change, that private jets are even okay. Why do some people get to have a carbon footprint 10,000, a million times more than the average person? Now, I don't agree with all climate science, and we won't get into that now, but all right, well, let's come back to what he said and see if there's anything else there that could possibly be construed as who knows. So the Gates Foundation offers a gender identity toolbox, which asserts that gender is a result of socially and culturally constructed ideas. Okay. This is also, I agree, 10,000,000,000%. Gender is the biological way you were born. You are either XX woman or XY male, and in a few rare occasions you are XXX or XYY or XXY, and those people you have to feel for because they have all kinds of health issues and mental issues, and because you're not supposed to have 3 sex chromosomes. So, but for everybody else, you are born a man or you are born a woman. Gender is not something that is socially constructed. Fact. Okay? It's time to start fighting back against this type of stupidity, because that's the only thing that you can call it. Now, you want to identify as a different gender. That's on you. Do what you want. Hey, I have known plenty of trans people, especially 20 years ago. It wasn't, oh, wow, it was almost 30 years ago now, but it wasn't so toxic. Okay. Actually, within the gay community, it was, it was a nothing. It was just like people were different, and most gay people are pretty accepting of people that are different. So it was nothing. Or seems like homie's doing a pretty good job at just laying it out. Let's go to the next section. So we know how much Bill Gates cares about children. He met and traveled with Jeffrey Epstein many times after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes. I'm going to preface this with saying that I've had my own issues with Bill Gates and the Bill Gates Foundation and doing things for children. And as soon as I figure out how not to get sued, this will totally be coming out, and I'm going to add my own little dart into this. But there's nothing there that is not true. So Epstein was killed. The black books never come out. Everybody knows this. Once again, we're not doing anything about it, but everybody knows it. So that's some truth telling. Gates defended China's COVID policies and discounts the lab leak. I think we all know now what's going on with this. Now, I will say that it was on like February 5th or 6th of 2020. The sequences for COVID came out, and my background in part is in molecular biology. So, of course, I pulled up the sequence and ran it through restriction enzyme cutters and different programs that look for specific things in nucleic acid sequences. And I knew it was man-made that day. I told my husband that day that it was man-made, because there's just too many things that are there that if it was a natural sequence, should not be there. Now, the furin cleavage site, which everybody talks about, that was one that was just kind of a glaring example. But there are plenty of other things in that sequence and the way it's arranged and that tell you that it's man-made. Yet we still live in this world where people are trying to deny that there's even a possibility that it came from a lab leak in China. Meanwhile, not all of the facts, but a good deal of the facts really just point to that. So while you can't say with 100% positivity that it came from a lab, you certainly can voice that opinion because it has a high likelihood of being true. Okay. Gates Foundation gives dark money to Arabella Associates. Well, that's also factual. So here we have somebody being arrested for speaking the truth in America, saying he was criminally trespassing at an event where he was an invited speaker. If this is allowed to continue, there will be no free speech. There will just be no free speech. So, for anybody that watches this video, I hope that you just take a minute to reflect on what that really means and then ask yourself, well, should I say something to my friends today about this? Yes, you should. These are the types of things that need to be shared. These are the types of things that need to be discussed. And certainly, I don't care if you're red side, blue side, purple side, trans side, whatever. Most people agree with most of what was said in that speech. And, anybody who wants to debate, hey, here's a platform. I'm happy to debate any of these issues and to generate nuanced conversation. I live in a world where my philosophy gets upgraded every time that I see something worth upgrading it with. And if you can show me facts, if you can show me examples, I mean, anecdotal evidence is still evidence, okay? You don't have to have a study with a million replicates to necessarily know whether it's true or not or has the potential of being true. And I'm always trying to upgrade my philosophy. And I'm always willing to talk to anybody who wants to have a real rational discussion and that also has enough knowledge of the situation to truly discuss it without it just being this emotional rant. So that's where I'm coming from. And I hope you enjoyed my take on this issue. And I'm going to have some stuff after this that's going to explain where you can find me and whatnot. But I really hope to just keep putting out ideas that people need to think about, or that I hope they need to think about. I'm going to do a bunch of different segments in the future. Yeah, I'm definitely going to discuss a lot about science. I'm going to get into the James Webb Telescope deep because it really is proving that things like Einstein's wrong and that we need another new model for what's going on in our physical reality. I think the James Webb Telescope has actually already proven that the Big Bang didn't happen, which means that you have to start changing the dogma within all academia, uh, changing something that children are taught at a very young age and will make it difficult for them to divorce themselves from. But unless we're going to keep throwing billions of dollars at theoretical physicists that aren't worth the paper that that money is printed on, which will soon be worth nothing as well if things keep going the way they are, uh, go Bitcoin, go crypto. Well, just really go Bitcoin. The rest of them, who knows? But uh, Bitcoin certainly looks like it's going to be a good uh, new avenue for money when fiat currencies finally dissolve, which is for sure to happen soon. And yes, I'm rambling. And guess what? That's part of what this is about. Uh, but anyways, I really want to talk about issues like that. I do want to talk about Bitcoin. I do want to talk about uh, the electric universe. Certainly, that is something that seems more likely than not. I want to talk about aliens. I want to talk about anti gravity. Uh, yeah, ton of stuff. Uh, Gonna go all over the place. Even gonna have a little sports cultural segment with a buddy of mine that should be super fun and get into things, you know, all things Los Diesel. So, all right. Well, on that note, happy coffee morning to you, and we'll see you next time.